What was it like being discovered by a manager who, as you mentioned, had recently discovered Tommy Hicks, who became Tommy Steele?
Yeah, it was magical. You know, it was a bit like Simon Cowell. He came down to my home. It'd be like Simon Cowell knocking at your door saying,
Yes.
I want to, and he had a contract as well. I want to sign you up. I mean, you just, you know, anyone who Simon Cowell signed at one point, you know, would know that they were going to be stand a good chance of becoming a star. So when Larry signed, came to ask me to be one of his artists, it was I thought, oh wow, you know, now it's. But in actual fact, it was a kind of a progression. It was taking its time, but just gradually, you start off by being in an amateur band, and then you stay in the amateur band, but you're getting known. That was me, and I was in this little group, and we were going around. We were really getting noticed, and I suppose in the back of my head, it was in. Maybe I thought I was gonna, at some point, I would get. You know, I don't know what was going on in my head. I know that I gave my office at the Rue Lane 2 weeks' notice to Mr. Butcher. I said, I'm leaving. He said, what do you want? What are you going to be, Smith? I said, be a rock and roll singer. He said, you're going to be a rock and roll singer. You know, oh my God. And he said, and I said, he said, so where are you going to work? I said, I've got 2 weeks' work. He said, 2 weeks, just 2 weeks. I said, well, you know, that's what I want to do. You know, that's what I want to be. I want to be a rock and roll singer. And later on, of course, he was a charming man. And later on, I went back to the offices now, and I'd hit, you know, hitting the charts, and
Yes,
everyone was very sweet. But at the time, you can understand it, really. You know, everyone wants to be a star, you know. So
that's right.
The chances of it were pretty rare. But I was fortunate, you know. I was very ambitious at that point in my life, very ambitious. So I wanted to get on with things. I wanted to do it, and I loved rock and roll so much. I just wanted to be a rock and roll singer.
Absolutely amazing as well. You've done